This unsettled weather pattern is not over yet. We're looking at several changes to our weather pattern through the rest of this work week and then even more by this weekend. Hey everyone, I am Darrell Winning, your chief meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News, and we are about to take a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Look at the changes that have been happening today, the big changes that are coming up through the rest of this week, and then what happens next, how much warming is expected, and when that sunshine is really going to be the highlight of our forecast. But let's start off with the winter storm impact through the next 3 days. We are looking at some heavy mountain snow. In fact, the National Weather Service even has a winter weather advisory in effect for the east slopes and the west slopes of the Cascades. Just a series of advisories, if you will. Meanwhile, in the lower elevations, not much in the way of impacts, but we are looking at minor to moderate impacts through the passes. So if you're traveling over the Cascades and heading to Eugene, Willamette Pass is your best bet through the next couple of days. St. Anne Pass isn't going to be too bad, neither is Government Camp. Now, when we look outside, we have more precipitation that is falling. We also have some pockets of blue showing up in a couple of these cameras, so some in and out clouds. Meanwhile, road conditions through most of Central Oregon, they're just dry roads, and we do have some shadows on the roads indicative of those times of sunshine, those areas where we're getting a little bit of clearing. But let's look at the Cascades, because through the passes, we have snow on the road at St. Anne Pass, slick roads at Government Camp, Willamette Pass and Century Drive on the way up to Bachelor. Well, they're showing some slick roads. More Century Drive on the way up to Bachelor than Willamette Pass. Willamette Pass is at the southern stretch of this active weather pattern. In fact, by 5 p.m., we're still looking at some snow that's going to be impacting us through the overnight hours and into Wednesday. Watch what happens Wednesday, because snow levels rise. With that, we go from snow to a wintry mix in the Cascades. And what that means for us is we're not going to be looking at too much in the way of snow showers anymore. That winter weather advisory is set to expire. It probably will. Winds are going to be gusty, and then we're going more for a wet weather pattern than anything else through the rest of this week. So let's talk snow totals. So far, our snow report shows that as of 5 p.m., we've gotten 2 to 9 inches of snow through the Cascades, most of it in the Cascades of northern Oregon. So Hood, about Timberline and Meadows, 8 to 9 inches. Hoodoo got 5 inches, bringing us up to 22 inches, so almost back to 2 feet. And so when we look at Wednesday's powder prognosis, tonight alone, we're looking at 2 to 4 inches at Bachelor, and then 4 to 8 inches at Hoodoo. Notice through the day tomorrow, we're still looking at more mountain snow. In the lower elevations, that's where we're seeing a bigger shift in the weather pattern. So the National Weather Service does have this series of winter weather advisories until 5 p.m. Wednesday, as well as a high wind warning to our north, and the Cascades of Washington have both winter storm warning, and a little further to the north there's actually a blizzard warning. But when we bring it closer to home, we just have this winter weather advisory where we're looking at an additional 5 to 8 inches of snow between now and 5 p.m. Wednesday. So it's one of the things we're continuing to track. Meanwhile, satellite and radar does show that snow from St. Anne Pass going up past Hood and into Washington, and this is just one cold front that's already fizzling out. We have another system that's right around the corner, and it's going to be rolling in with a warm front by tomorrow. So just looking at infrared satellite imagery, we do see where there have been some breaks in the cloud cover here across Central Oregon, but also this plume of moisture coming in from the Pacific Ocean. And we actually, this is not an atmospheric river per se. It could develop into one later on during this week, but as of right now, we're in a zonal flow, and at times southwest flow. And it's because of this ridge of high pressure that's keeping us from getting completely soaked. But hey, the mountains are getting snow. That is definitely good news. When we look at water vapor imagery, we do see some areas where there's a little bit of moisture overhead, but really the precipitation is being absorbed by the Cascades, not really coming into Central Oregon outside of some flurries and sprinkles, and that pattern continues. Now, when it comes to relative humidity, as of this evening, along the east slopes of the Cascades, we do have moderate relative humidity. The rest of us are pretty dry. And in the last 24 hours, temperatures range from the 30s to 50 degrees. Most of us topped out in the 40s and 30s. As of right now, it's still 50 in Warm Springs. We still have 30s and 40s across Central Oregon. And as of this evening, we are running between 1 degree warmer and 3 degrees cooler than we were 24 hours ago. Now, let's talk about this weather pattern because a lot's going on, and we're staying in this zonal flow where a lot of the moisture and systems are coming west to east into the Pacific Northwest, giving us even more of that Pacific moisture. So by tomorrow, a slight bump in temperatures as we sit in the warm sector of our next system. Highs in the 50s, heavy mountain snow is expected to continue, but with highs in the 50s, we're back up to near average for this time of the year, staying with highs in the 50s Thursday. A few 40s and 60s are going to be possible, but more rain and snow showers are in the planner, and by Friday, 50s with a few 60s. That chillier air mass still further to the north, and so with this modest bump in temperatures, it's putting us closer to the average high of 54 degrees, average lows in the mid to upper 20s, so this is going to be seasonal through the rest of this work week, and we are looking at some mountain snow, some heavy mountain snow just on the top side of that stationary front. We'll come to snow totals again here in just a few minutes, but look at this. We have roller coaster temperatures, 50s. Look at Sunday. After Saturday's dip in temperatures and clearing, we get another warm-up. That next warm-up is going to be the beginning of a pleasantly warmer weather pattern. So let's look at this. Our forecast model shows that we are expecting some of that mountain snow to continue. The transition to rain and wintry mix in the higher elevations happens Wednesday. By Thursday and Friday, we're still in this active weather pattern. Watch what happens after Friday. Friday night, we're going to get wet. Saturday, we start to clear out. And then comes the sun. So just looking at a different forecast model, the GFS shows very similar conditions. The mountains absorb most of the moisture. We do get our bump in temperature. Showers Friday night, Saturday sunshine. Sunday, sunshine with some in and out clouds, no rain in sight. By Monday, back to sunshine. And this is when the big warming is expected. So, pardon me, between now and 7 a.m. Wednesday, we are looking at heavy mountain snow continuing, a little bit of rain and snow shower activity in our lower elevations, and then through Thursday and even Friday, we see even more of that snow continuing to build in the Cascades, and that's why we have that winter weather advisory. So winds are a little gusty right now. Gusts are as high as 25 miles per hour, mostly coming out of the west and the northwest. Now, actual wind speeds are 10 to 20 miles per hour. Watch this, though. Your winds trend forecast product shows that this evening winds will be tapering back down to a light breeze. It's still going to be breezy at times overnight. By Wednesday and Thursday, it's just going to be gusty across the high desert. So for tonight, temperatures bottoming out in the 20s and 30s with some rain and snow showers expected. By tomorrow, still looking at some of that wintry mix. The highs in the 50s with some 40s on the map. This is the beginning of that gradual warming trend. But look at Saturday. We get that dip in temperatures. Look at Sunday. We start to warm up. Look at Monday. Look at Tuesday through the 60s, reaching into the 70s. Now, there's a caveat to this. There are a few forecast models that are hinting at another system rolling in early next week, and that'll definitely kill the warming trend that's heading up. But more models are showing this warm up through the 60s, reaching into the 70s by St. Paddy's Day, then are showing the opposite, where we're actually looking at our next dip in temperatures. But as far as our weather headlines through the next couple of days, weather headlines are Tuesday, March 10th. Chilly, light rain and snow showers, check. Modest warming trend starts tomorrow. It's going to be gusty for many of us with heavy mountain snow expected, and as of right now, we already have some of that mountain snow. We've already had 5 inches at Bachelor. We've had about 2 inches at, we've had 5 inches at Hoodoo, about 2 inches at Bachelor, and 8 to 9 inches up at Hood. Even more is on the way. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News with the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.